YouTube. What's up, YouTube?
All right, we're live on YouTube and Facebook. Let
On
me
both?
move the camera real quick.
Ooh, let me go be our one viewer. You know, we need it. Let's go. LETSGO, let's go, let's go.
My boy, the cheerleader's here. Little
Get
cheerleader
this thing
Rich.
started.
Bro, why is it saying it's been live for 2 hours?
That would be so funny.
Bro, that would be so unfunny.
Oh, man.
Let's see if I can
probably
find
because
it.
when you posted it. I'm on it right now. I'm about to share it.
You're on the Facebook one?
Yeah. That would be hilarious, though.
That's weird, though, right?
I'm the one viewer. I think it's because that's when you posted it. So it's probably like that's when you were talking about. But it says live just now. Live.
All
now.
right, so should I share the Facebook or the YouTubes? I'll share the Facebook one.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll share the YouTube. I like getting YouTube views, bro. I feel like that's where you get the clout.
Yeah, that's where the cloud is. Not the cloud, the clout.
Yeah, the cloud.
Speaking of, do you like enunciate tent and pin and pen?
Pen. I don't know. I don't think about it. Did you hear someone do something weird and you were like, wait,
no,
did I do that?
Someone was talking to me about tinting their windows. And we were talking about, and I think it's just how I pronounced it. And I was like, I honestly thought those were the same word, just spelled differently. And I didn't know you pronounced them differently. I didn't know that was a thing. And so now I've tried to emphasize it.
Or tent.
Yeah, I just never could. And I still don't, even when you do that, I can't really tell that. I'm just terrible, I guess.
You're just deaf?
I think it's that fresh. No, I mean, I can tell the difference. But I think it's just, that good foothill education. So that's what
we did have a good, we had a good foothill education. That's exactly what we had. Shout out to our boy, Chris. Celebrating his 30th birthday. I guess it's not actually his 30th birthday, so
until March
never
14th.
mind.
But yeah, he is celebrating it out in Cabo, living it up, living it up in the city. Probably kicking it with Ted Cruz out there, straight making
all the politicians.
Just living life. Michael, is that audio? Is that good or is that audio bad?
Yeah. How crispy are we right now?
So yeah, Michael said, is it just me? So yeah, let us know, Michael, what you are hearing or not hearing.
It's probably feedback from my phone or my glass or something. Who knows?
Oh, it's bouncing off. Ding, 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 ding. Well, welcome to the Jules&Rich podcast and the
season finale.
The season finale, man, dropped it on him today. Bam.
So he said Facebook was muted. Anybody else? If you're Josh, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah,
Shout out to Arcadia Play.
Is that user error? Because I muted my video on here and I could hear it if I unmute it. So
yeah, I would check that.
Michael, user error or not? But we got to start this week's episode with a rapper is now free to the streets. Bobby Shmurda is free to the streets. He has that song Hot N-Word.
It said the audio is going in and out.
Oh, so Josh said that, but Michael did say it was on his end.
I wonder if it's the Wi-Fi. Well, let us know in the comments. Sorry, if it does do something weird again, please let us know because I don't want to waste my time talking to people who can't hear me.
I feel like Josh is just hungry, so he's talking about in and out.
But yeah, so Bobby Shmurda got out, and the black or specifically the hip hop community seems pretty excited about that. How do you feel about it?
I'm pretty juiced about it. I think it's a little weird. I mean, he didn't have a crazy illustrious career, but it's almost now just became part of the culture of he was about to be free, didn't get free, then finally he's free after, a good amount of years. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he does. I'm excited to see, I think that type of rap is still relevant. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he does and if he comes out with some more just bangers. But you know that it was all good just a week ago. We were going to continue our show about a week ago. Now this is the finale. So
it was all good about a day ago. Actually, that's a different song. Drop the Throne or Watch the Throne.
Yeah.
But it was all good about a week ago. And I think it's weird that I mean, I'm not going to be the first guy to say it, but that the Black community loves when criminals get set free. First thing I don't know.
Alleged criminals.
I mean, he was convicted though, so he's not alleged anymore. He's a convicted criminal.
Yeah. All right, yes, that's true. But I mean, you can be
R.
convicted.
Kelly is an alleged rapist.
No, see that I think those are opposite, right?
But
you could be convicted and be innocent, and you could definitely be free and be guilty. That's the perfect example.
But I'm just saying though.
Like, I mean, there's one person on camera.
I just can't wait till he gets freed, and I'm gonna be like, my boy R. Kelly's out. You think people will have my back or no?
Whenever you say my
murderers.
boy, that's the weird thing though. When you say my boy, it's like now does that mean I pee on people because I said my boy? I don't know. Speaking of that, how do you feel about listening to R. Kelly music? Talked about that before. How do you feel about it?
I don't know if we talked about it. I do know that.
Like, are you skipping?
Oh, we did. We definitely talked about it.
Okay, because are you skipping the Ignition remix? I just don't know. I Believe I Could Fly. Like, does that even count, or is that a Space Jam song?
I feel like certain things, like he might have created it, but it's bigger than him. Like, we don't get to lose it because he messed up. You know, like he contributed something so great to the lexicon or whatever you want to call it, you know, to the joint community that like he can do whatever. We get to enjoy that song. He may not deserve the money or anything, but you can't take that from him.
I watched a comedian that was very cringe-worthy, but he said something that I had to think about a little bit, which, like, does talent outweigh morals? You know, maybe at a certain level for sure, right? Like, do you really care if a guy's a murderer if he brings your favorite football team a Super Bowl? I don't know. I think there are some opportunities where...
Not to interrupt you guys. I know it's the 20th episode. I'll go through with the gifts.
Yes.
I got a classic beef cheddar.
Please say you got some horsey sauce in there.
I got some classic roast beef.
I don't
got the horsey sauce.
You are the plug.
Shout to Herb.
Thank you, man.
Man, your pod was the warm up to the show.
Yeah, we were listening to that before the show. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah. I text you the Wi-Fi password, so shout out to you. Right, a lot of our fans are fans of yours, so thank you for the Arby's, bro. You the man.
Arby's sauce.
Good to see you, brother. That was a nice surprise.
He is the man.
If you haven't listened to him yet, quick shout out. That's Irby, Tuesdays with Herb. I'm not going to give him another hour like I did. Thanks for the.
He's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, I think we just appreciate. Do you like cheese?
I do.
You take that cheddar one then.
Okay.
I think that there's a certain thing where it's like the talent is just so it's so exceptional that we will definitely, I don't know the explanation of why, but we definitely seem to be okay with them doing more. John Jones, you know?
Well, it's like, dude, I have to love my family, and I have family members that are criminals. I still love them. Why can't I love the people who actually give me stuff I enjoy? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know. I think if you, there may be some situations where I will legitimately be upset, but you know, if we're going to be anti-cancel culture, then I'm not canceling people for doing stuff.
Like I said, like, bro, we get to, you know, what if it turned out like, I mean, obviously, like the Bill Cosby thing went terribly wrong. I'm not arguing for him.
But I never was a huge Cosby fan anyway. So,
bro, the one where he's talking about taking his kids to the dentist, or he goes to the dentist and his mouth's all numb, is so funny.
Oh yeah. All right. Some old Cosby stand-up type stuff. Gotcha.
And it's like I said, like, I get to, because like he can't take that away from me now. Like I get to, like that's mine. Does that make sense? Like he made it for me. So him being an idiot, I don't punish myself. Like I'm not gonna.
Well, how do you feel when they make money on it still though, right? Like if you're giving streams to R. Kelly and he's making money, are you gonna go illegally stream it just so you could feel better and like not that you're not paying him money?
So,
or is it gonna go to the people who, you know, he affected, right? The victims. If they end up suing, I'm helping them in a way by giving this person more money because they're going to have a civil suit. They'll be able to earn more money from it.
That's a true point. And I think in many cases, it does work out like that. That's a kind of a complex issue. Because what about his team? Do they still make money? So it's just Bill Cosby's cut gets taken? You know, like how does that, or Chris Brown or...
Yeah, that's what Michael said too. You're going to have to cancel. If you're canceling R. Kelly, you have to cancel Chris Brown. There's always weird stuff with that. You know, he had bite marks on him. What kind of, they were in a car. What kind of fight was that?
Don't get me canceled, bro.
That's already the last show. No, I'm just
don't get
I mean, I already was blamed that I would suplex a woman on the show before. So we're still making it through there. We're fine, but
yeah, so what were we even talking about?
If you think I'm not going to be hopping fresh out the kitchen, mama rolled in that body.
Oh, but yeah, as far as talent, you know, it is odd. And it seems to be odd that the portion of people that are exceptional is that make you more at risk to do weird things? Or is it once you get the recognition, you know, it's harder to stay normal?
I think it's like when you don't hear no ever, you know, I think there's situations like if we look at Michael Jackson, right? Like he was a star or bred to be a star since he was a kid. He's going to be weird. There's no Macaulay Culkin's another version, right? There's those child stars that they were bred to be weird, and I'm not surprised by that. But then there's the ones who got famous later and they're mega stars and they don't ever hear no. They're going to be in some weird situations. I can only imagine, because not only that, when you don't hear no, you do all the things you want to do. Then you start finding things that are just like extreme until you hear no. And it probably gets really, really weird, you know?
I think there's a story about an old rock star. I forget what band has Ricky Six in it, but it's that same Motley Crue. And one of the main guys, like, so not like the backup drummer, but like the guitarist or whoever, the story goes that he purposefully didn't take a shower to see how long it would take before a woman would say anything. So like he was getting so much sex every night that to him, what made it exciting was like trying to get a girl to say no through terrible hygiene. Think about how like I won't take a shower for 6 days. In that time, who knows how many women he slept. Motley Crue in the 80s. And I don't remember how long it took for a girl. But the point is like, yeah, you're going to be. But was he a weirdo already? We'd have to ask his high school friends. You know, like I can't imagine a world where I'm like, I'm going to make these people uncomfortable for my own joy. But something about it.
But like, could you imagine a world where you've hit every one of your sexual fantasies? Probably not. Like as a man, you're just always knowing in life you're not going to get all of the things you want at a certain point. And maybe not. Obviously, there are versions where you get that more and more. But in most cases, I think most men go through life not getting a version. And maybe it's a fantasy you have that if you did do it, it wouldn't even live up to what you thought it was, but you still die with them, right? Could you imagine not having any of them? You would just come up with new ones and then you would still get them. And then you're like, okay, this is weird. Like we did the human centipede thing.
I'm sure. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's a factor that once you've done a twosome, a threesome, a foursome, a fivesome, you know, want all of that. You've been to the masquerade parties. You've done. So yeah, maybe you just hit the nail on the head. But I also think there's a certain aspect of it too of when do, like me, like let's pretend I was talented. There's a lot of talented people. It takes something more to become a Bill Cosby, a Chris Brown, R. Kelly. Like you have to be willing to sacrifice. I think you have to be a little out of touch, most likely, to get there in the first place. So maybe they're just at risk. But that's my piece on that. So shout out to Bobby Shmurda. I know you murdered people, or at least tried to, and I'm glad that
rapped about it
for some reason the whole world is glad you're not in prison. But
I mean, he did his time, right?
He did have one great song, so
he did his time. So
he did do his time, but I mean, he also got caught twice smuggling a shiv into prison, and they didn't give him any added time. I mean, I don't really care because I don't want to be a hater. I'm glad for him. It's more that I'm skeptical of our community and their character judgment.
The fact that they want everybody free, no matter what they did.
Pretty much. But that's a whole nother.
That's part of hip hop culture too, though. You know, it's like, I mean, you get cred for that, right? You get plus points for actually being able to, like, your music lines up with the lifestyle you actually live. Yeah, that song being where he was just going off saying all the stuff people did made it so much funnier.
Have you seen the video of the district attorney listening to lyrics?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
That's crazy.
Like, if there's any corroborating evidence, this is a confession.
Dude, so this is a story. So there was, and this is a Sacramento guy, and I think this is who it is. So someone may be able to correct me, but I'm pretty sure it was Sibo, though. So Sibo, Sacramento guy. He like went to jail legit for snitching on himself in his music. R.I.P. MF Doom. Rap Snitches is one of my favorite MF Doom songs because that's real. Like they're just rapping these. If it's real, what you live and what you do, you're just snitching on yourself. But he does that where he like identifies it, where he talks about like breaking and entering, robbing a lady and her getting shot and seeing her brains like come out of her eyes. And that's how they like identified him. It was like only the actual person who did this would know. And he's doing life, like multiple life sentences for that. So, and there's also other funny stories about that. May or may not have talked about a family member of mine in one of his songs about random wild stuff that I'm not going to talk about.
You know what? Yeah, maybe we'll keep that off just so we don't podcast snitch on ourselves.
No, not even snitching. It's actually more of a funny story, an embarrassing story, and it's not like they are criminals in any way, my family members, but funny about them that may or may not be about them that my brother showed me that I think is hilarious that I'll talk to you about off air.
This haircut is fire, bro.
It does look good, but no, for sure, man. I think, and going with your comment here, like, yeah, being famous would be rough, man. Having to be under that level of scrutiny would just be.
And this will be my last like attempt at a serious, thought-provoking, conversation. I wonder if the best things about life are dreaming. Like, I wonder if, the best, because you get the hottest girl and then you get tired of her. You get like, maybe there was more value in dreaming about her for 10 years.
This probably goes with that in the line of, the reward is the journey, right? It's about the journey. It's not about the destination. And it probably is the chase. It is a lot about that more than it is. I imagine because you just learn a lot, right? You don't really, especially in the case of you don't really know. I think if your dream girl is someone you legit know, her personality, it may be different, but I think even then there's going to be stuff you learn, she leaves clothes out and you just live with her and you just start to dwindle because you're going to put her on the highest platform. Usually it doesn't keep going up. You're going to start learning things that.
Right. But I mean, imagine if, that's everything though. What if that's everything and we make up these stories to keep us going through life? And it's meaningless. It's just a hot girl who doesn't wipe her hair out of the sink, and maybe
Yeah, I think that's
once
just
you
gonna
achieve everything, there's just like, it's just all meaning.
Yeah, I think you have to have a real perspective, though, of reality. I think if you do put everyone and all of your dreams at the highest pedestal, it just goes back to thinking the worst, right? Like thinking people are the worst or whatever is the worst is going to kind of make your expectations more realistic. And it doesn't have to be the negative thinking, which we always talk about, right? Like it doesn't have to, like you're the worst, so I judge you as the worst. Like I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to expect the worst. So if the worst comes, then it goes to say, even with you getting with your dream woman, it would still go as, of course, one of her legs is
shorter, like
2 inches shorter.
2-3 inches shorter.
And she walks with a limp.
And maybe she doesn't cook, doesn't clean, snores.
Yeah. Has a sleep apnea machine, keeps you up all night.
Dang, bro. And maybe that's just life.
But if you think the worst, then you're going to be positive, though, right? Because then she's not going to be the worst. She's going to be a form of the worst.
You expect all of those things, and it turns out
just super. Like I didn't know. I've never really looked at her from the side, so she has a hunchback, and then she doesn't, and you're like, oh man, she's not Quasimodo, and then you're Juice, and that's cool. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's you just have to do that type of thing. And I was just talking to Bree about this the other day. I think having those thoughts is one thing, but like really, really having that like in your mind, like that's the thing. Because I know that, right? I've talked about that on the show. It's a way that I've been looking to live my life. I think if you're a Christian and you really read the Bible, that's literally what the Bible is about. It's saying ever since Eve bit the apple, like humans are the worst. Like we are all sinners. That's a huge, but that's when most people think of Christians, they think of very judgmental and like you have to be perfect and you have to be godly. But the Bible is literally there to tell you people are the worst. We're all the worst. That's why God sent Jesus back to die for our sins, because we're terrible, but we still have this view of like we are perfect. And then you view everybody in this, they should be the perfect version of themselves, when I'm trying to get myself to view everybody the exact opposite. They're all the worst versions of themselves. So Julian's a murderer in his free time. Not like the good murderer. He murders kids. He's not like Dexter where he kills serial killers. Sorry if you didn't know, that's what Dexter's about. But
But do you think of yourself as the worst? How do you view yourself?
As the worst. And that's something that I have to get better at, because it helps me judge people in that way. Because I could easily say, hey, I talk to myself that way. So I could talk to you. If I talk to myself that way, why can't, but that's not the right way to look at it. I can judge myself that way. It's like, hey, you're the worst. But to talk to myself that way gives me the ability to talk to other people that way, is where my disconnect has been. And that's where I want to do better, because I can say those things, but I can't really live it as much as I want. So that's something I'm working on. Just moving forward, is genuinely living in the fact that people are the worst and they'll end up proving you wrong when you think that, and you could be more joyful, and that's even with like Benny right now with training my dog. It's, you see him grow and get better. And so you start thinking like, oh, he's the best. He's the best. And so when he does one mistake, I'm super upset about it. And so I'm trying to get better. They say that, right? Knowledge without application is nothing, right? It's nothing. Like if you could have knowledge, but if you don't apply it, then you really have nothing. And so I'm trying to get better in that thought of like, I know people can be the worst. Now I just need to genuinely feel that, because I'm catching myself getting more irritated pretty much every day. So
the assumption though is that being let down is bad. Right. That would be the assumption, where like maybe being let down isn't bad. Like maybe, because like although I understand fully your philosophy of assuming everyone's the worst and never being let down.
Yeah.
Like being let down is not the bottom. Like I've been let down by a lot of people.
But why were you let down though? Right. It's because you expected a different result.
Yeah, but it's not. I guess my point is like I want, like, for example, like if you let's say this is completely imaginary. Let's say you are a different guy and you are single and you meet a girl that you like and you expect it to go bad forever. It's going to go bad. It has to go bad.
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like if you are being a certain way, like if you are changing how you live based on that, and that's what most people do when they think it's going to go bad, they start acting differently. But if you act the same, but just know that they can do, and that, I mean, that's really how I went into my relationship with Brie. I'll be 100% honest. Like I haven't been a great boyfriend to past girlfriends. With Brie, I was like, I'm gonna be a good boyfriend. And if something happens, I'm not trying, like I treated relationships as a winner and a loser. So before you cheat on me and I look dumb, I'm gonna cheat on you, or whatever it is, right? Whatever that version of looking dumb was. And so instead, I don't expect Brie to do bad stuff. I just understand if she does, I'm going to just walk away from it. I'm gonna move away from it. And I expect that she may be the worst version of herself. But I'm not going to act different for those reasons. I think that's why a lot of times you put that into the air and it does end up happening because you're just always expecting the worst. And when people expect the worst, they say things like that. Where were you? Why did you come home from work late? Right? Like that's what I more mean of like not letting that be the way you treat people, but having that understanding that people are the worst. So, you know, if they do mess up one time, and I'm not saying to the drastic cheat thing, but if they mess up something simple, like they didn't do dishes when they said they were going to, you're not super pissed because they didn't keep their word. Right.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
But I do get what you're saying.
On a philosophical level, for, you know, my advice to the masses, I would say, and mind you, this is coming from a guy who like, I just don't really care about very many things. Like, it's not really, you know, that's my thing. So I can say it different. Like someone letting me down, it would just be like, oh, that was my fault. And I just like, it doesn't really bother me. So I guess like kind of like what Michael said earlier, like knowing yourself and how you react to things. Like to me, being let down is just part of the game. Like that's part of the fun, you know. But I can understand where you're going. He asked, is this a series or the season finale?
Oh, season for sure.
This is the season finale. And then I guess we might as well just jump into that if you want to talk about that.
We're going to have a fresh new table just for Michael when we come back to.
Yeah. So I just needed, we'll talk about this for like a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's probably a bigger topic than anything else we have planned. I initiated this finale personally. As many of you know, everyone who watches this is probably friends and family. So you all know I'm kind of dealing with some nonsense that's eating up some of my mental bandwidth. And I have felt like the product I've brought you guys the past couple weeks has been kind of subpar. So rather than abusing your guys, like, you know, like we all have that friend who sells, like they move from one pyramid scheme to the next, you know. I just don't want to be that guy who like abuses my friends and makes you guys watch, you know, my podcast when I'm not into it. And like, and you guys are loyal and faithful people and you tune in, and I want to make sure that in return, I'm here. You know, I'm not thinking about some other thing that's on my mind that's, you know, or what's going to happen, or like, I just want to be here. And like I told Richard, like there's been a couple times the past couple of weeks where like I'm just not here. And then I look down and I'm like, dude, these people turn in every week on Thursday at 6. They could do anything in the world. They're watching this, and I'm thinking about my personal life. And I've taken some steps to curb that, how that can have an effect on me, but just realistically, I can't shake it right now. So I think we kind of discussed like 10 weeks to 3 months off. We've done, believe it or not, it's been 6 months we've been back. This is our 20th episode, and we've missed, 2 or 3 weeks. So it puts us at about 6 months. And, it'll give us a chance to really nail down our format, nail down the content we want to have moving forward. And, obviously, one of my big goals these next few weeks will be upgrading our equipment and everything. And by the time you see me next time, this stuff will have been sorted out. I will be more free to talk about my life without fear of consequence. And that's pretty much my piece, man. Thank you for tuning in. You will see us again. We will be back better than ever. I can guarantee it. We've got a lot of segments. But yeah, it's all my fault. So blame me.
Nah, and when we talked about it, I told him already 100% support that. He does a lot for the show and you have a lot going on, man. So I appreciate you, man. I'm excited for the break. I do think we're going to come back so much better. We'll have a better setup. We'll be better. Maybe we'll have a logo by then. We'll make sure every episode we say, welcome to the Jules and Rich podcast. And we'll be ready to come back with guests. Personally, Michael, please be ready when we come back. And really, we could even start episode 1 with him when we come back if he's free, because I do want to get more into guests, having those conversations, and just really hammering out, how we do the show. I want segments more where we're definitely going to do mail time. We're going to do current events, things like that. But just, I think we want it to be more organized, and we talk about improving the show, but 7 days just goes by so fast. Like, we really don't even have time to improve because we're just trying to find topics and keep things interesting. And I mean, and you guys probably know as well, you all have lives. A week is just super, super quick. So we always want to improve. We have a bunch of plans. We talk about a bunch of plans, but we don't want to spend the entire podcast talking about the plans we have to improve. So we'll be back. I'm super pumped about it, but that's all I had for that. Wanted to go into this. Have you ever heard My Hoopty by Sir Mix-a-Lot? It is my favorite Sir Mix-a-Lot song because the first verse is so descriptive. So I'm going to say it to you. And I don't know what Hirachi is. I think that might be his friend, or Hiraji. So, my hoopty rolling, tailpipe dragging, heat don't work, and my girl keeps nagging. 6'9" Buick, deuce keeps rolling, 1 hubcap cause 3 got stolen. Bumper shook loose, chrome keeps scraping, mismatched tires and my white walls flaking. Hit Mickey D's and Hirachi starts to bug. He ate a quarter pounder through the pickles on my rug. Running, moving, tags expired. Girlies try to diss and say my car looks tired. Hit my brakes. Outslid Skittles, tinted back window with the bubble in the middle. Whose car is it? Posse won't say. We all play it off when you look our way. Rolling for a deep tire, smoke up the block. Gotta roll this bucket because my Benz is in the shop. My hoopty. Such a good song, man. And I know Baby Got Back gets all the attention, but he later talks about that's who Sir Mix-a-Lot, Baby Got Back.
So wait, is Sir Mix-a-Lot My Posse's on Broadway?
Yeah, also My Posse's on Broadway.
Because,
another classic.
What did you just say? Hiraji?
Yeah.
Because he gets a shout out on my
he does.
Hiraji on the deaf side, acting like a freak. The girls see his booty and then he's get a weed.
So I'm sure, I'm sure he was and I don't know, he used to always rap with a super squeaky voice, dude. I don't know if that's him, because I don't know if you ever heard Buttermilk Biscuits too. That's another.
Have you just been listening to 90s rap?
No, so I was thinking about all these random verses I know, and I know that verse, and I've known that verse since legit 6th grade. I went back and listened to the song because that song's one of those that have, 6 verses on it. He talks about running over his girlfriend, and a bunch of random stuff where he gets hair stuck in the bumper. It's a great song. And I was thinking about that because there's another song that I'm not going to rap that verse because it's very inappropriate. A song called Put It in Your Mouth.
Okay. I can imagine where this is going. You don't need to tell us.
The girl's verse is just, she rides the beat like she was Ludacris in the early 2000s. It was crazy. But yeah, I love that song. So. Sorry.
Maharaji's on the deaf side dance. Oh, yeah, I got it right. The girls see his.
How do they spell that? How do you spell it?
Maharaji, Maharaji.
So is that something? Does that
Maharaji is
because it's my Haraji.
No,
that's what it says. My Haraji starts to bug. He ate a quarter pounder through the pickles on my rug. Running, moving.
No, Maharaji is a person.
Okay,
but it's a. Hold on, I'm looking at it.
I'm going to go to some comments too while you're doing this. Yeah. So first, shout out to Lisa, our old producer's mom. Lisa Garcia got married Or it gets married this weekend,
yeah,
right?
So yeah,
she gets
thank
married.
You for
this
bringing
weekend.
that up.
So shout out to her. She usually tunes in and watches too. So super shout out to her. Appreciate her.
Yeah, congratulations
and congrats.
I will take a second. She's a beautiful lady. I never met her current fiance, soon to be husband, but I've heard a lot of good things about him. So if you're listening, congratulations. You grabbed a great woman.
Absolutely.
And I wish I could be there, but I didn't get invited. So frankly, I didn't have the kids this weekend, so I don't know why I didn't get invited. But
I don't know if you've not heard about me, but I turn weddings up. So I would have paid you to come if you really needed. But.
I mean, in reality, after every wedding I go to, I just am filled with regret usually. For the many mistakes that I've made.
Opposite track record.
But anyone who's watching, who's getting married or going to a wedding, if you can get a +1 and invite me, I would love to go and get some reps for my future wedding crasher business. I need practice. I'll no charge.
I'm the opposite. You want to be wedding crasher. I want to be like the Wedding Ringer, that Kevin Hart movie where I'm a professional wedding guest. I will turn up dance floors.
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. I need training though.
If you have open bar, look, you need grandparents out on that dance floor. You need to have a good time. I promise you. I will turn that.
I've got references.
I'll pay for the dinner if you need it. I mean, if you got that expensive dinner where you're paying, $100 a plate, I'll pay for that. I got you.
I know. But when they see you,
come on. I'm telling you, I will turn that thing up.
They're gonna offer you seconds.
Oh,
get that boy some food.
Yeah, you better feed that boy. You see him burning all them calories on the dance floor.
Get that boy some food. Oh, there we go. I got a wedding in June,
but. I actually have a wedding in June too. So as long as it's not the 2nd, go ahead and invite me. I think that's when my wedding is. The wedding that I'm going to be in is on the 2nd. Any other, let me know. I'll be there. I'm there. Well, I got to get approval. If I'm going to be a girl's date, I need approval from Bree. So I will ask for that. But if you need a date, I'm there. I'll turn that
or
thing
just
up.
Get a +2 and we'll both show up. Because if you get the two of us together, it's
going to be a good. I don't even care what the theme is.
That's a money back guarantee.
Oh, for sure, it will be a good time. Like if you want your wedding to be memorable and just look back like we had fun, it will be great. So. And she's the maid of honor. Come on, you don't want to be a weak maid of honor. Turn up. Come on.
Does that mean do I get to make a speech then in a way?
No, I don't think. Oh, that would be different. The maid of honors +1 makes a speech. Oh, by the way, I know she has a speech, so I was going to do half of this. Let me go ahead and say a few things.
I haven't known the bride for very long, but what I do know about her, and I'll just freestyle from there. It'll be kind. I'll give the bride I'll give everyone a heads up. You always have to give the bridesmaids a shout out. That's the key to the whole wedding speech.
That's probably why you have regrets after, because you want to shout out all the bridesmaids.
No, you don't have to say like a creepy way like what I would usually do. Just go up and say like, we've got a bunch of beautiful bridesmaids and a bunch of beautiful groomsmen. But then everyone got they all feel good. At least
I just keep it to the groom and the bride because that's who it's about, Especially in modern days where groom and brides pay for everything. Like you don't have the parents paying for stuff like the tradition used to be. That's why I'm all about, if I haven't talked about that on the show, I think weddings should be potluck style. Like people who actually believe in your relationship bring stuff. And you could tell how much you're supported based on how poppin' your wedding is.
Bro, that's how my next wedding, when I get married, the backyard is just about to be that whole spot. I'll have Mike come out and not this Mike, the other Mike, pour us a big ass slab of concrete for the cutter rug.
That's all I need.
And it's just going to be popping, and we're going to have a couple different people's dads on the barbecue, and it's just going to be live, and Julian's just going to have liquor pouring, and that's it. That's what I want. And everyone's invited. Everybody's there.
I like that you're saying this, and then you're going to meet someone who's like, I've been planning this since I was 11.
Yeah.
And she's going to...
I'm like, you've been planning to do a wedding in my backyard all this time?
You must have known. You were super smart.
Dang, we really were meant for each other, aren't they?
Seriously. Dude, that is one of the where I think that's like the life I want to live. Ruining traditions. Birthday cards is one of them. I'm not buying anybody birthday cards. All you do, you read them, maybe read them, and then you just throw them away, or you don't know what to do with them. Like my mom puts them on the TV, or she used to put them on the TV back when TVs could actually hold stuff. But now she puts them like near the TV, or they're like over on her side table.
You just hang them on the top of the flat top.
Until you remember to throw them away. It's the dumbest thing. And you're in there reading 90 cards to figure out what card to get someone.
And now, bro, a decent card, $5, right? For like a real one that even has words in it.
Well, especially if you got to buy envelopes and bags and stuff.
Bro, if you go to Target, the 99-cent cards don't have any words on them.
The only time I'm buying a card is if I'm not staying for the whole party, so I need you to know who the gift is from. Even then, I might send you a text that's like, yo, polka dots, that's from your boy.
Or just that's what the bag is. The bags usually have a little thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
But no, yeah, no more cards. I'm down with that.
And then weddings, man. The fact that now we're paying for weddings, and someone gave me that advice. If you wouldn't buy them dinner, don't invite them to your wedding. Because that to me is insane. And I'm just going to act like I'm throwing a party, and then we're all going to show up, and they're going to be like, what the? Like, you rented out this for a party, but then you're having a wedding? Like, yeah. Well, it's going to be, nope, too bad. Sign the contract. That's what we're here for. It's a wedding-themed party. That's what it is.
Okay, so I just Googled Abby Norris. Oh, no. I remember her. Good for her, man. She's a sweet girl. Good for her. Congratulations.
I just hope Michaela picks me over you, though. So, whatever. Michaela was the one that was filming every 15 minutes, so we got a bond.
I mean, everyone usually picks you over me, so I'd be used to it. Don't worry about it.
I appreciate you.
But so real, I don't know what's wrong with me, and this is another thing another reason. Like, they can hear that dumbass dog, huh?
Probably, it's pretty loud.
Let the dog out.
Free Bobby Shmurda.
Let the dog out. But like, bro, the funny part of my brain just has not been on. It's everything turns serious. Like, you talk about traditions? My first thought, like, serious. Like, I think our loss of tradition is like sad, kind of. Like, here, I think this. So let me tell you a story about America. We like get rid of all of our traditions for like whatever's convenient. Like, I feel like Americans are the most convenient people.
Yeah, it's not convenient to pay for your own wedding. I agree. I'm right there. So sorry that I'm your worst friend.
Well, the weddings are a sham. That's. But like, what traditions? We're down to like 3 traditions, bro. We got 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and even most people don't celebrate those on the right day because it's inconvenient.
That sounds like a dream.
No, bro,
I don't know. You think that?
Traditions?
Oh, I think we're opposite. We are making dude, you don't have a baby shower and just a baby shower now. Now you're having gender reveals. Then you have a baby shower. Then you probably have another baby shower. Now we have a thing called a sprinkle because you have second kids. It's crazy. So that's one of the things. Now we have Friendsgiving. We have White Elephant. We have Friendsmas. We add even extra stuff. I just think I do get what you're saying in that regard.
I mean, those are.
What are ones that you're genuinely sad about, though?
So. So what I'm thinking when I say it is specifically like Christianity. So that's like because like I'm a Baptist. I don't want to make this about religion, but we're only 45 minutes in, so we have some time. And like Baptists, in my opinion, and I'm one of them, so I can say, I think is like one of the most sterile religions. Like, we've sterilized all the tradition, all of the mystical, all of the magic, all of the fun. And I think that's why it's like a big, like, American version. Like, we don't have Orthodox Christians here, barely, because they're like all about fasting and prayer and this and like big events and feasts and festivals. That's like, we'll leave that in Europe. This is America, like We go to church once a week, 2 hours tops. Like, we're going to sing 3 songs a week. They're going to be played on a piano. Like, this is what's convenient. And as far as like the rest of it, I haven't really spent a lot of time on what other traditions, but like, we don't take like.
Are you gonna watch the new episode of WandaVision, or are you gonna go to church for the 6th time this week? I just don't. But I do know what you're saying though, and I do think there are, and I agree with you in that sense. There are things that I personally like to keep for tradition's sake because they do feel good, and I kind of like to do stuff for no reason. But it's a lot with how you started this with. I pick and choose which ones are good to me or not good to me. I think that's why we are down to 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, because personally, I'm like, those are the ones I like.
But even how many people do you know who celebrate? And this is, bro, this is not a criticism. I'm like my family. My parents are divorced. I'm soon to be divorced. So my kids have like, there's no way they get to see everybody on Thanksgiving. 0% chance. So I'm not dogging on anybody, but just like the fact of the matter is like, so my kids will grow up with a 3-day Thanksgiving, which is a new tradition. That's the Richards tradition. We all get divorced, and by the time Nolan has kids, that's not funny. I hope his marriage works.
Yeah, I'm not laughing at that part. I didn't know you were going.
You know, I always take it too far.
Yeah, I like the Richards tradition until you brought Nolan in there.
Generational curses, bro. But so I mean. Traditions are funny that they come and they go, and I get that, you know, convenience is a big part of it. But I sometimes I miss, you know, having something that unifies everybody. Like even Black Friday is pretty much dead now because we do it online.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and like, I think having something that everyone participates, like I said, 4th of July is cool. But like, you look at like Spain or Japan or China, and you're like, oh, they've got, you know, the Stampede of the Bulls. There's a different name for it. Or they've got, you know, the Chinese New Year. Or they've got
San Juan. They do that in Spain, San Juan. We are there for that. It's actually spelled San Juan, like the high school.
San Juan.
It's San Juan. They say it like that. I don't know why. They like pronounce the J as the first one. But we are there for that. And it's like a kind of independence type day where they do fireworks and stuff. It was actually pretty cool. Researched it to find out because I wanted to be there for a festival. And that night was the night we left. We didn't have to go to the airport till 9 p.m. So we got to like hear fireworks start going off and stuff. And where we stayed, there was a like a rooftop that you could go on and chill on. So we were up there drinking with.
And that's when the Bulls run through?
No, that would have been super cool. And they didn't do that in Barcelona either. So that was sad. And no, but
they
no, it's more
banned it on PETA or somebody.
No. That's just not where it happens.
Oh, okay.
But I think it happens more in Madrid, I think is where that is, but I don't know for sure. So,
but anyway, I feel like America's kind of, we've sterilized this down to like the most common denominator thing. And like, we can't, I don't know. It's just, maybe I'm being nostalgic most likely, but.
Well, I think a lot of it too is we are all more selfish, right? Like, are you willing, for instance, Black Friday is what I was thinking of in this case. Are you willing to sacrifice the uncomfortability of shopping in person to keep that tradition alive, right? Are you willing, and there's different cases. Are you willing to sacrifice doing a bunch of other stuff to go to church multiple times a year or multiple times a week? Like, I think that's what it is. Like, we're getting more and more selfish on an individual level.
100%.
And that goes with what you're saying, right? It's like, we all decide what we're going to keep alive. And then after a while, if there is a certain tradition and no one else is doing it, you're like, well, let me just be selfish too and not do it, because the tradition and the biggest part of the tradition was, and even like Michael's saying here, is like, it was more community. So when you see the community is not following, you're like, why am I following it and not trying to be the leader to get more people doing it? And why I say that, this kind of goes with, I've been seeing people talking about like Black-owned businesses and like people won't buy Black-owned, but they'll go to Amazon. It's like, because the experience is better. It's cheaper. The experience is just better. I know I'm going to get my stuff in 2 days and not whenever you decide to actually send it to me, which isn't a knock on them, because that's the old sell way.
I'm listening.
But no, and I'll talk to the people too. You know, I think that's just a thing that we have going now where honestly, we're just a lot more selfish on that individual level. So I understand it, because it's going to be hard to get yourself right to sacrifice. Like, for instance, are you going to pay more money for a product just to support someone you know? That's a hard thing to do. So like, I get it. So like, I don't know. I don't know. I get it. I can understand why people don't want to sacrifice either their monetary or their well-being or just their comfortability. But I think that's the way that we're going to have to go. We're going to have to go in a way where we're willing to sacrifice certain things for the principle. And I don't think we do enough of it. I think we're just getting more and more, selfish in that way. So, but yeah, no, and I agree with that, Michael. So, it may not even be that. It may just be like now we have more access through the internet. And so you could kind of see more of that too. So yeah, for sure. I get what you're saying too. And even point show thing is like now, like you could all watch a show and there'll be millions of people more. I was even watching a thing on, and I'm going to bring this up every single episode. So just so I make sure to, I was watching a thing on Hamilton and they talked about that. Like when they put out the thing on Disney, they already knew that they were going to get more people to watch that show in 2 or 3 days that had watched the show over the span of the entire show, right? Like just by putting it on Disney, they're going to get millions of viewers instead of the normal. I think it seats like 1,500 people, right? So like, I do understand that too. But I also understand, and just to catch you up when you're gone, is like, I do understand people not being willing to sacrifice either money or comfortability.
So I think that's a distinctly, I've never been to any other country, so I can't say it's only American. I think obviously technology is a part of it, but like, it's just we're just the most perpetually comfortable people of all time is the feeling. Like we cannot be made uncomfortable by any, like if there's one person there who I don't want to see, I'm just not going to go. If there's one, like if it's
one of the most famous questions to a invitation is who's all going to be there, right?
Yeah. Like, and it's just like, and my brother brought it up, a lot of this stuff is tied to, religion and church and stuff like that, which obviously is on the steady decline. Not even a steady decline. It's on a sharp decline. And we just haven't really came up with any replacements. And I just, we had no plans of talking about this, by the way. So I'm making all this up. But sometimes I do romanticize about like a more community, like getting people together to like all be unified by something else other than like, we all mutually hate Valentine's Day. That's pretty consistent. We all hate that. I like the song
by Andre 3000. Happy Valentine's Day, February the
14th. So anyway, that's my piece. Maybe we all start our own little family. We have Friendsgivings and cook-offs and podcasts and all of this other stuff. But I wish we had something bigger as an American culture. We need something like bigger to. Like between Christmas and 4th of July, maybe we need a nationwide Mardi Gras without maybe some of the debauchery. But just like, I don't know. I think everybody should get together. And
you don't think you should get beads for lifting your shirt up?
Maybe not. Maybe we could leave that part out, but everybody goes and eat. Like that'd be cool. Like, in Germany, they've got Oktoberfest, which, that's only in Munich, I believe. But there's other things like I forget the day, but on like one day of the year they all eat what's that stuff called? Like fried sausage. Do you remember that?
Oh,
why am I so stupid, bro? Anyway, they all eat the same meal, which we kind of do, I guess. But anyway, you see my point. I won't beat it.
Please answer that.
I won't beat it to death.
So mad about
fried sausage, German fried sausage.
No, don't look at it. What? Someone please say it. Is it? I'm so sad, Ralph Freeman. I'm so sorry. I love it too. I'm so terrible.
I've had it. We had it in German. Was it fried chicken? What was it?
Pretty sure it's like a type of sausage.
This is the most entertaining podcasting of all time as I search
for what the fried sausage.
What is German fried sausage? Like, oh, didn't mean to look that up.
German sausage volume 2.
Dang, bro. Traditional German food?
Schnitzel. Thank you.
Schnitzel.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there we
Michaela,
go.
You're the best. I knew someone would come in the comments there. That was going to piss me off, Joe. I'm so sad I couldn't think
But anyway, I went out way too far on that. I miss traditions. Maybe we'll bring some. Maybe we'll come up with some new ones that we all agree are fun and yeah.
Well, I think Super Bowl's an added one though, right? Like I think that's something most people do. Even if you don't enjoy football, people go meet together, eat a bunch of stuff.
Super Bowl's pretty good.
I'm trying to think what a New Year's,
I'm coming off of 2020 where I didn't get to celebrate a single thing like I would.
Which is another way where you're kind of distant from what the traditions would be, you know? So, and I think that's another thing. I think we've all got to places where we have traditions, right? We're even talking about doing one. What the hell just happened? Oh my God, what happened? Are you okay? Wrong hole, fool. Is that what it was? Oh yeah, if you can't talk, it was the wrong hole. When you can't even get words out because the water went down your talk hole. Damn. Okay, so just Richard
alive.
Again. I'm back.
I'm alive.
I'm so sad. You're gonna have to clean that up.
I got bubbles. I think I sucked the bubble up.
But so we were talking about doing back to what we were just talking about.
Gotta leave again. Let me grab a towel. Sorry, everybody.
We were talking about doing another cook-off, right? Like I think we have more traditions based on friend groups and families more than like a broad one. So Super Bowl, I think, is one. New Year's is one. I'm not gonna lie, that was so funny.
Wrong hole, fool. Wrong hole. Let's say. Sorry. All right. What do we? Were we going?
I was talking about just friend traditions and how we have more of those now, right? And that goes to Friendsgivings and things like that. Like I think we're making more traditions on a friend level than with our family. I think family a lot. And my brother's in here. He was even talking about that. Family traditions have to be something where you invite everybody. And I think that's a little different now. I think we kind of all, and it's probably the internet does this. It makes you feel comfortable because you see more people feel the same way you do. But like, how many, and like you even said that, like, how many family members are you genuinely like, I'm not going to be around. I'm sorry. Like they don't, or they just don't get invited to stuff anymore. I think more and more we've got to that where we have a chosen family versus the family that we're born with and that we have to love, because that's a huge thing with family, right? You have to love them. Sorry, those are just the rules. And I think we've gotten closer and closer as we grow up to have the chosen family, and we make traditions with them, which obviously isn't the best thing. I think we need to get closer. Michael brought this up. Me and you have talked about it multiple times. The family unit is the first unit that's going to teach you anything. So it's super important. I mean, I know plenty of people who are, it's them and their new kid, and they're not around their mom and dad, or the dad's mom and dad, or vice versa, the woman's mom and dad. It's just them, and they build everything with them, and they don't even teach them about their families. It's something we need to get.
Well, bro, yeah, I think about that all the time as a complete failure in America. I cannot name. I don't think I could name a single great grandparent other than Graham. We just call her Graham. I don't know her name, but I'll count that. But like, and this kind of goes both ways though. We don't think about anyone who, or maybe not anyone. A lot of people who have kids, I feel like they don't make decisions based on like what will affect their kids' kids. And this is not to put me on like a high horse, but like I'm always like, I want my whole goal in life, and I've talked about this on the show. Like I want to leave something behind because then they'll remember me, bro.
Even though you already talked about no one's divorce.
I gotta tell him like, bro, I'll pay your lawyer, bro. Get a prenup because you gotta protect this family's assets.
Think smart. You don't get married, you can't get divorced.
Hold on. You don't get married. I don't have a pen. If you don't get, let me write. But like, why would, if I pay this house off and this land off and it goes down to the family, they'll be like, this was Grandpa Julian's. They'll remember me. My great grandpa left me nothing.
Good or bad.
I'm not going to remember.
Yeah.
Like there's no, like, but like in Japan and Mexico and other countries where they take those things more seriously, it's like, oh, you know, this person sacrificed for the family. They put their pictures up, you know, they burn incense or candles or whatever. Yeah. And I just think it's odd that
you watched
we don't.
Coco recently?
Yeah.
That's what it was. Huh? I love
Mama Coco. But it's just, anyway, this is that's my last thing.
Yeah. Do you think that's both because they didn't leave you anything? Or do you think it's part of, you know, your mom or your grandmother or grandfather not telling you those stories too? Do you think that's part of, because for me, like I legit have not had a grandparent since I was 8. But I only know my mom's side. So to be fair, I've only had half.
Yeah, you only had a 50-50 chance anyway.
But yeah, like when I was 8, my grandma passed. I never even met my grandfather. And so, I mean, that for me is, and that's even like, I know people who still have great, and you even talked about that, like who have great grandparents who are alive now. I don't even have a grandparent that's alive. So it's a little different there. And I don't think that's they pass down stuff. But I do understand that because I am 100% one of those people who I'm like, I'm going to be this way because I didn't have it, you know? And so I'm very firm in that, you know, I do want to pass things down. I can be very selfish, but yeah, for sure. I'm going to.
Yeah, I just think that's something we as Americans have failed I think that's a fundamental failure of our system. That is I truly believe that the failure of our families to build any meaningful wealth across a generation is directly responsible for the problems we see now. Like, it's crazy to me that someone can live 80 years and leave essentially nothing behind. And then,
but for you, especially on your black side, when they weren't allowed to buy property, like what did you want from them? You know, right? I mean, there's some of them that literally weren't allowed to do that. Especially if we're talking great grandparents, they couldn't do it. So I think that's the other problem.
So there's a yes and a no, and I'm not going to discount that because that's a factual thing. I have a great uncle who recently died. May he rest in peace, Al Wilson, who lived through. So he was. I'm ashamed to say, I think he was definitely in his 80s, but I don't remember how old. So he was born and grew up in segregational America and went on to build a somewhat, wealth for his family. So he changed the trajectory of his family for sure. So it's possible. But I mean, we have to remember too, like, although not to discount what you say, it's a valuable point when 13% of your population was legally barred from building any generational wealth for 200 years. But we can look at, since they were allowed to, how much have they? And it doesn't seem like much. That's completely my opinion. Would you disagree? Like, it doesn't seem to be like blacks are out wholesale, but I don't think whites are either. I don't think that's a thought. Like,
yeah, I don't think it's a thought. I think there's a group that does it just because it happened and not really the thought of doing it. I think most people live in the now, and I don't think they think about the future. I think our generation is actually one of the first that we are genuinely thinking about what we were left. And we're like, yo, we got to do better. We got to live better. We got to leave more stuff. But I think we have an understanding of what that would do for our kids. You know, I don't think we lived poorly. I think we've been raised right. And we are lucky in a sense, but that's just we're lucky with the times. Now we're trying to make our kids lucky in the terms of what we do leave them. How do you feel about leaving them a legacy less than leaving them things, though? Like, if you get a school named after you, are you happy with that if you don't actually leave them anything?
If both of my kids don't inherit a paid-off house, I'll be in heaven cursing myself ashamed. I think that...
You think you'll still be in heaven if you're cursing yourself ashamed?
I think before you go to heaven, you get a chance to reflect upon your failures on earth.
Oh, so before you're actually... So at the gates, you're going to be pretty
probably.
upset.
So
how do you feel? Do you think you would be in heaven if you had to re-look over your Google searches when you got to the case? I mean, knowing that, in reality, knowing that Jesus died for your sins, you're going to be.
Yeah, obviously, yeah, you didn't even have to.
Yeah. But yeah,
thank you.
Gotcha. But yeah, going into the joke factor.
Thanks for spoiling any joke I could have. But before you go, let me bring up Matthew for you real quick.
Just so you're not a bad Christian on air, like you're going to heaven because you know Jesus died for your sins. But on a joke term, how do you feel if you had to go over your Google searches?
I think about that sometimes and I feel a lot of shame. So that's pretty much all I'll say. I'm working on getting better.
So you don't think it would be good that you have like a bunch of actresses naked after on your Google
Well, I mean,
search?
I use Google Incognito, though, so there's no stored report.
You think God needs that?
You think God needs an SQL server to pull up what you've been Googling? I'm gonna write a sermon. That's gold. I need to write that down. God doesn't need a server to know what you've been looking at.
I know. Do you think he needs to check in with the FBI? You think he needs to subpoena Google?
A search warrant to know what's on your heart?
God has sent 0 subpoenas. He doesn't need that.
All right, before I get struck by lightning. But all right, let me finish my thought and then we'll move on to something we had written down or if we have anything written down. But like imagine if it was standard for when your parents died, you inherited a home and you never had to pay rent or a mortgage again. Just imagine that. That's crazy.
Can we start with your parents owning it? Imagine if your parents owned a home,
or even had a mostly paid off house. This is my we take a couple things for granted. Like, why do you not own anything? Why did your parents not? Like, don't blame Jeff Bezos that your parents never built any wealth. Not your my parents listen to this. I hope they don't take it personally, but I watch a lot of like Japanese and Korean movies, and there was this one, and the dude's a servant, and he's begging his master, like, please no, like we're starving, blah blah blah, and he's like, why don't you pray to your ancestors who didn't leave you anything? And he turns around and walks away, and it's like that set on me. Like, so I think about that all the time. Like, we want to blame everybody whose job it's not to take care of us, except for our parents, our grandparents, who have an obligation to us. And I don't know how we got onto this, but everyone listening, do better for our next generation.
My thing though is like, did they though, right? Like, I mean, I can understand you were just living in your life. And I talked to my mama. My mom is such an ignorance is bliss person. She's 63, she turned 64. She lived her life. She's cared enough years to now not care. And I can understand that. I can get that. I think it's okay for family members to be selfish and I'm not going to blame them, but I do. And I'm not even going to say be better. I'm going to be what my form of better is for sure. That is my goal. That's my goal. But my goal now isn't even to leave my family. So my goal right now is to show my current family members who are alive, things they can do. Because my family wasn't going to Hawaii when I was a kid, right? Like I'm trying to do those type of things. They weren't going to Europe. They weren't showing these examples and not saying this is kind of opposite because I could probably be buying stuff instead of taking trips. But it is just showing people that in my family in particular, that there's just stuff you can do culturally first. But no, 100%. I'm looking to have a home paid off. I have multiple retirement accounts. I think that's something that's huge.
You have to.
I am trying to do better, but I'm not going to take for granted that my ancestors in a way showed me the wrong way too, right? I had an argument with someone about that. Like, are you automatically a product of your environment? Because I feel like that's a cheap thing to say. Like, because you are, right? If you're in spite of, you could still label that.
Yeah, of course.
Which I think it's a cheap way to look at it. I don't think technically, I think being a product of your environment is, you really reacting based on what your environment was, not you living in spite of what your environment was. But if you take the technical term, then yes, you living in spite. I think that's more of where I am is like, I do want to live. I understand that because we grew up and you look at these entitled ass kids and you're like, that's terrible. You're spoiled. But the more I see, I'm like, I want that. I want to spoil my kids. Now I hope I could teach them to not be shitty versions.
Well, my kids aren't getting nothing till I'm dead. They're going to have to claw it from my cold, dead hands.
Says the dude who literally has a farm, right? Like, I mean, that's like a dream for kids. Your kids got goats and dogs.
And Roz is going to get a horse. I'm going to do all that.
And so, and I think that, like, that's the other thing with, we have like a negative view of that. It's like giving your kids everything is such a negative view that we just need to get rid of that stigma. We need to get rid of.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I always, I try and teach my kid values, but that's sour grapes. I mean, like, I wasn't able to give my kid anything, but I didn't want to anyway because I didn't want him to be spoiled. Like, no. You can't use a poor system as an excuse. But I mean, it's a fine line. I have kids. I have to think about that. God has blessed me. I hope he continues to bless me to where I do have to even consider spoiling my kid to be a problem. I could be homeless tomorrow, so I'm thankful. But with that said, I think we've, as a nation, failed our future generations by turning our back on like inheritances, passing down property, passing down true knowledge, passing down opportunity. Like, so, it's, if you just take two Americas and all right, it's 36, give me 45 seconds. If you take two Americas, right, both of them had about 200 years of development. If one of them passes down wealth every time a generation dies, and one of them passes down debt, after 5 generations, this one will be 50 times farther ahead. If you didn't have to worry about rent, college tuition, etc., from the time, your whole adult life, what could you achieve? What innovations could have been made?
You're definitely making an argument you don't know you're making right now. But
no, I know it's a socialist argument, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a realistic, but and I still have 3 seconds left, and you cut. No, I'm just kidding. You didn't cut me. But I think about that because it's something we could all do. You can pay off a house or two in your lifetime. So that's pretty much it.
Well, and I think that's more what we need to do too. I think that like the family unit is super important. And I think now we need to understand that the family unit's important, but then also adding what I think is very popular right now, which is the community factor, right? Which it takes a village. That's one of the most things I'm prideful in, is like showing love to all my friends' kids. And it's not, I say it that way on the show, but you know how I feel. Like they're all my nieces and nephews. Nolan's my nephew, Rosalind's my niece. Like I may not always be in a place where I can do it, but I'm always going to make sure, or I'm always going to try to make sure I'm there, whether it's birthday presents or Christmas presents, just something to know, like outside of their family unit, they have this community that's going to be there for them, when they're going through whatever it is. I think it's so easy now, especially with the internet, to find so many people to agree with you, that people distance themselves from their family so quick. And the more we build these communities where it's like, man, I could talk to Uncle Richard about this, right? Like that's going to be helpful, and it's going to keep it. Cause I want to know how many times are people not getting left stuff or being left out of wills because of arguments, right? I'm sure there's plenty of that. As you grow into an adult, like that's a huge thing in our community is, single parents, and most of them are moms in reality. And when you live with the mom, you hear the story about the terrible dad, the deadbeat dad. And then you grow up and you realize, and if you're a man, you start to date women and you learn like, man, was it really him? Or was she like, if you're not going to be with me, then you're not going to be with him, right? Like that's like you learn more and more of that. I think that's something Dad, you learn about.
I know that mom was crazy. You still didn't have to run off for them cigarettes, though.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You told me you was coming back. I should have known when you wheeled the suitcase up. But I think that's something that even goes with the being left things too. There's so many disconnects there. But honestly, like that's not even something I know. I know about that from TV shows and whatnot. But I don't know about wills. I don't know about leaving people anything where you actually have to talk to a lawyer. So,
but this is a point.
There are chains I want to bring.
Bro. Yeah, like, and I take it for granted because I was lucky. but a lot, maybe either A, they are never educated, or B, they think it's such a unlikely situation, or they never take it seriously that they can do it. That people just either like they don't. I always assume that everyone knows what I know, or believes or wants what I want. When a lot of them maybe don't. A lot of them are, you only live once. I'm gonna die in debt. I'm gonna die in debt to Italian mobsters. Like, I'm gonna die so far in debt, my kids will never dig their way out. Nah.
My kids will be born with broken kneecaps because I'll be in debt. The Italian mobsters.
I'm gonna die with the debt that doesn't disappear with me. And
are you talking about Social Security?
So, when you, bro, that's a funny thought. When you die. Because if you ask people like, oh, when you die, what do you want to leave behind? They're all going to say like, oh, a house and all that. Like, but nobody's like, my gambling debt. Like, I'm going to just run it up.
Honestly, I want to refi and take cash out right before I die so that they have to pay the full price for my house.
Yeah.
I'm going to have it paid off. I'm going to take a bunch of cash.
I'm going to take a reverse mortgage out just to make sure you're underwater on this thing.
Absolutely. No FHA version, just the regular old school version.
Just a regular.
Actually, I'm going to make sure they bring stated income back, and I'm going to apply for a loan I don't qualify for. And you definitely wouldn't qualify. No, for sure, though, right? I mean, but there are that. That's how many times have you heard like spend it because you can't take it with you? Like, that's more of what I wouldn't say our generation. I think that's what generations have been. We'll just spend it all. You can't take it with you. Yeah. And I think some of it is, their grandparents, our parents' grandparents came from the Depression where they lost money in banks and they were putting money under mattresses and whatnot. So they're a little more weary of that. But I think now we have to be better. I think our generation's being better. And that may just be me and just knowing like I am being a different to.
It feels like technology has finally crept up and earned its keep in certain ways. Robinhood, Acorn, etc. So shout to traditions and leaving our kids some stuff. We got 13 minutes left in our season finale, bro. What's on your mind?
Let me see what I got on here outside of some mix.
Justin, thanks for poking. It's great to see you, brother. I love you, man. I hope everything's going great out there. Hit me up.
I did write a John Lennon quote from a book I was reading. Living is easy with eyes closed. Misunderstanding is all you see. It's basically ignorance is bliss, but I like the way he wrote it.
That might be a segment when we come back, or we'll have to figure that out. I want to incorporate some type of creative writing into this, either storytelling or music making or some kind of funny.
Oh, for sure, man. If we get a good old and we talked about this, like if we just do like a 15-minute segment, we're going to write a song. We're going to play a free beat so we don't get in trouble. We're going to write a song. If you could incorporate some good lyrics, we may take some lyrics.
Bro, could you imagine with our squad if we just wrote us like.
It'd be gold.
I need to look up a song to sing. I want to sing a farewell song. So while you talk.
So one of the things I wrote down. Getting in fights in the modern age, right? I mean, I have a goal of now when I turn 30, this was not that I've been in a fight in a long time, but I was like, when I turn 30, I should never fight for the rest of my life. Like you got to like disrespect my family. You got to like hit Bree, maybe like touch her butt in front of me or something. Like then you deserve to be socked up.
You said it.
Because I don't know.
Touch your butt when you're in the bathroom.
I mean, like if I'm there, right, then I'm gonna go. But like if I gotta go find this dude.
But wait, what if she's
it's at
like,
her
you
job,
come back from the bathroom and she's like, this guy just left and he grabbed my butt.
If he hopped in his car, I'm not gonna pull in and go
walking
find him.
Down 16th Street right now.
Oh, I'll go snake him. That's like my favorite thing.
That's the easiest thing you could have gave me. I will sneak up on him.
I would go punch his lights out just
straight from behind,
just to see if I could do it. But yeah, getting in fights in the modern age when you don't know who trains MMA. Like, how do you feel about it? Like, you can just get whooped by anyone. This dude from Geek Squad's just fixing your computer, and you're like, yo, you're taking too long. And then you go check him, and he's playing solitaire. Like,
yeah, I mean,
what happens when he armbars you?
Your classical definition of a nerd has never been more dangerous than in 2021.
For sure.
There's excellent odds that immediately after high school, he enrolled in jiu-jitsu.
Because before they became cops, right? And they abused the shit out of everybody.
So the original route was...
yeah, exactly. Or military, right there in JROTC.
Military, steroids, cop.
Yeah. Now it's like MMA, jiu-jitsu. Next thing you know, you're in
computer
an bar,
programmer.
and he's threatening because he doesn't want to get in trouble by a sensei. So he's threatening you to break it. Are you done? Are you done? I don't know if you ever watched that video in the gym where a dude does that. And that's like literally.
Wait, you're talking about a basketball gym?
Yeah. There are like 24 or something.
Yeah, I have seen that.
And you like he hemmed him up so good. Actually, I loved the way he rolled around too. He was definitely very professional, and I loved it.
But he ended up getting him in a knee bar, didn't he?
Yeah, it was
he
a
said,
knee
"You'll
bar.
never play basketball again." If I remember right.
Yeah, are you done?
I'll rip your whole ACL off.
Like that's a scary.
He's lucky that. Here's a reality. He's lucky those black dudes didn't kick him in the head.
That's the other thing, though, for sure.
That's why I never roll by myself.
Because I'm not gonna lie. Dude, this was one of the funniest circumstances ever. We used to go play basketball at Pacific every Friday, and I remember we were there one day, and there was a couple of dudes there. We're all hooping and stuff, and there's a bunch of us, and the homie Nate kept elbowing this dude because it was a couple of dudes from Grant that he knew. And so he was like, "Oh, you're trying to be hard now. Like, I'll beat you." The dude was like, "I'll beat you up, Nate. Like, I know the real you." And like, it had to be 20 of us from Foothill, probably 3 of them. And a dude ran up and was like, because he was from Highlands, and I knew this dude since I was a kid, and he was like, "This is Highlands, no fair fight." I just looked at him like, dog, no one says that when they have less people. And he was dead. But that's always stuck with me where that is life. You know, there are no fair fights, man. But like,
bro, you remember when we left the 40 and that one dude tried to fight like 6 of us?
Yeah, because I said the N-word. And he tried to check me. He was like, "You're not black." And then you stopped me from beating him up because you were like, that was the most calm you've been to. Because I'm not going to try to pretend like you'd be ready to fight people. But you've definitely been in situations where you're like, we could beat this dude up. And you were just so calm and so real. And you were like, I get you, but what is it going to do when we beat this dude up in front of his girlfriend? And that just sat with me where I was like, it proves nothing. You're right. It proves absolutely nothing.
Well, that was one where it was like so obvious. He wasn't a big man, right? If I remember right, he wasn't a large man. I think he was smaller than our smallest squad.
Yeah, I would have beat him up by myself for sure.
And there was 5 or 6 of us.
Yeah. One of him and his
5
girlfriend.
or 6 males.
That's what I like about it. I just felt like he was trying to be tough for his girl.
And that's so but I remember that because it's a similar thing of like one dude, like I don't know how many drinks you've had tonight, but there's a zero legitimately, unless he had a gun, a 0% chance he was going to win that exchange.
Coming out of the 40, possibly though. No,
I'll never forget because he started off far, like, you can't say that or whatever. And you're like, bro, I'm black. And he's like, no, you're not. And you're like, I'm black, bro. And then he like walks up. I don't remember who all we were with, but it was just like.
It was like me, you, Brandon, Alex, RG. Like we were deep that night. We are a couple cars deep. And that to me, that was just like, dude, what?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It was at least 2 cars.
That's the worst part is I don't even use it like that. I think it was just
we were just having fun.
Laughing. We're walking to the car. And it's one of those where it's like, it comes out where you're like, oh, and that, you know. And so for him to, and I've never heard that. Like, I've never heard someone genuinely like try to check me on some you're not black stuff. So that to me was like, and then when I was like, yo, I'm black, like I didn't even say it disrespectful. I was like, what? Like, I get it. Like, you thought some white dudes were just over here saying the N-word, whatever. Like, I get it. But when and you know you're not, like, dude,
well, here's another thing.
Like, you almost got beat up in front of your girl for what? For what?
For some reason, I like the idea of fighting I don't, especially now that I'm older, but like I remember when I was younger, it was a little different. Like the idea of fighting another black person was like repulsive to me. Like I don't know why. Like it always was like, bro, of everybody here, we're going to fight each other, bro.
Yeah, like we're the minority here. So you could
Like,
fight a lot
for
of
real.
people before you fight me.
Me and you are really about to fight. And it like I
That's
don't
a
know.
funny
If, I don't
perspective,
remember
bro.
if that was what happened that night.
No, you were very.
But I
No, you
always
didn't want us
remember-
to beat this dude up in front of his girlfriend and have her out there crying because we just beat up him.
I remember there being a lot of us and just being like,
I
there's
feel like-
no win.
But that's what was funny. I feel like that's what calmed him down because it wasn't like, Rich, let's go. You were like, what's going to happen if we just beat this dude up out here? And I think he was like, oh no, they're committed to beating me up. Like it's not about to be.
He was standing right there like,
you
bro,
said it. Yeah, you said it very like, dude, what's about to happen if we just beat this? I mean, you just get no points for beating a dude up outside of the 40.
hey, we jumped this dude at the 40 last week. Like,
Well, and that's what, dude, I went to the 40 with my brother one
for
time.
those of you guys who don't know, the 40
The
is
74-40.
a known just ratchet dump of a beautiful paradise in Citrus Heights.
Yeah, it's like where it shouldn't be, but it's great. And there's a stripper pole outside, and it gets crazy out there, and people don't wear underwear. It's a wild.
I haven't been there in years, just so everyone knows. I
don't
turned
know.
my back on that place a long time ago.
Lauren like tagged us in something. They like redid a bunch of stuff out there, so it like looks fancier. It's not tiki style out back. It like looks nice. The bar looks nice. But I went there with my brother one time. My brother, and he was like, "Oh, we're about to go to the 40," and he's going with two of his coworkers. He's like, "We should go." I'm like, "All right, I'm down." And so we go, and I always end up in these weird situations where I'm just in the perfect spot to snake somebody. So I was like coming back from the bathroom, and they're in a heated argument with these dudes. Or no, it's just one. It's one of my brother's friend, one of his coworkers, and they're in a he's in a heated argument with these two dudes. You know, they're feeling bold because it's like 2-on-1, and I'm looking at him like, "What's up? What's up?" And he was like, "No, it's good." And so I do the thing to let them know he just saved their life. So I walk right in between them and like bump their shoulders. Was like, "You sure?" And they were like, you know, that instant spook, like, "Oh man, he could have just got us." And that place is just, it's so fun though. I don't know why.
Oh, they did redo it. Wow. But here's a question. Did they switch up their clientele? That's the real question.
Because if so, I don't want to go. I need it to be very interesting.
I hate that place. Bro.
That's the perfect
I'll
people.
gladly never go back.
Is that because you got hemmed up there?
When did I get him? Oh. I got hemmed up by
Michael,
a girl, so I know.
Michael,
just so everybody knows. No,
Michael,
dude
you went
hemmed
to
me up at the
Mesa? I
floor.
imagine all the Mesa people, the school's right there. You just slide in there.
When did he say he went to Mesa?
I don't know. He just said it's a Mesa Verde High School reunion, so I imagine that's
all right. When the world goes up, we will go back to 40. All right. So we got 3 minutes left. I had a great time on our season finale.
This makes me sad, man. I'm gonna miss you guys. We will
be back. I love doing this podcast.
We're gonna have to at least hop on Jules&Rich and just send some posts out and let's chat. We got to do some chats or something.
We'll start breaking up. We'll start maybe breaking these up, tripping some stuff out of our old content. We'll work on our new content. Maybe try and get a few more people to tune in every week and watch. We will. We'll be able to live life. That's another I want to live a life that's worth telling on this podcast.
I can't wait till we do like a Jules&Rich live show at the 40.
That would be lit.
It'd be crazy. You just hear that thong song come on.
Bro, they play
yeah. Baby.
We didn't even finish our fighting segment. We'll finish it next time. But
once you get to the 40, you can't help but keep talking about the
40. It's a magical place, and I want to go back and I want to have a lot of fun segments. I will be officially single soon, so I want to give dating advice, and then I want to document my ups and downs of dating in 2021 as a 30-year-old man.
I hope we could do some type of dating show for you. Did I talk to you about that? There was a serial killer who won the dating game. Won the dating game while being a serial killer.
Well, he must have been charismatic.
Yeah, he was, but super creepy because, they meet in the back to decide if they're actually going to go on a date after, because you win a date. You win a fancy date that they pay for. And the girl was like, nah, that dude is creepy. And so she didn't go, and he ended up being a famous serial killer.
Wow.
I actually have more serial killer stories, but it's late, and I don't want you guys to have nightmares, so I won't talk about it.
Well, in passing, I will give a motivational speech tonight.
I do disagree with Michael, though. The 40 is probably 85% responsible for Sac County COVID. No, I think it's opposite. I think it's responsible for people not getting it. I think you're basically immune to it if you've been to the 40. You don't got to worry about it. If you've put your hand on one of those poles in the 40, you're good.
Yeah, and I'll leave it at So I would like, that'll be a fun segment. I've been watching a lot of dating advice shows, and I think that there's a reason people love them. I texted you about Love Line, and like people are attracted. Maybe we'll do like one. We'll get back on our listener mail. I would like to sing a song every episode. I love that little segment when I sing stuff.
Oh, I do like that. Evangelina said you should read girls' online dating profiles, and they'll decide who you swipe
That would be
on.
a great segment. That would be a beautiful segment. And Michael stole my joke. I didn't end up saying it, but yeah. The 40 is responsible for spreading a lot of things, many things.
COVID's not one, but a lot of others.
Not COVID.
I don't know if you saw Sacramento, so be careful on your dating game. But
Remember
Sacramento has like a super gonorrhea.
Remember when those girls were fighting over the stripper pole out there, and it was, that's a messy place. If we have a live episode, it has to be at the 40
because they'll let us do it
easily. We can't be worse than that. This is one thing I'll say: we could not possibly be worse than their usual DJs.
They are the worst.
They must charge their DJs to play there.
Well, that's the other thing. It's so if you've been to the 40, you know it does not get popping till 11:30 minimum. And they play all the good songs at 9:30.
And then,
And then
he's trying to turn the dance floor up when no one's there.
Then they play like all the EDM versions of terrible songs.
Yeah, we need to outlaw that.
So like, like One Republic is Too Late to Apologize, but EDM version. Like, what are we doing? It's 11:30.
Imagine Dragons.
Come on. A straight playlist too of Imagine Dragons. It's not one song. It's like their whole discography. Oh man! But go ahead. Motivational speech.
So I love. I want to say I love everyone who's still watching. Thank you for tuning in to an hour and a half every week. You could be doing anything. Literally, you're capable of whatever you want. I hope that on these next 9 to 12 months, everyone gets a chance to live the best life that they're capable of. I hope everyone takes time to ask themselves who they are and who they want to be, and they live a purposeful and meaningful life. You do not have to live a life on autopilot, led strictly by momentum of your past decisions. You can change course. You can make your own decisions. You are not a billiard ball on a pool table that is just waiting for a white ball to come slap it into a hole. You can do whatever you want. You do have free will. I truly believe that. I love all of you. I will see you soon. I promise to be back better than ever, more focused than ever. And I apologize for this hiatus, but I can guarantee it's for the best of the show. I love you, and I'll see you soon.
Cool, man. Yeah, for me, I just want to say thank you to all of the people who watch week to week. I want to say, man, thank you for just making me a smarter person. Honestly, I could genuinely say I'm smarter when we do the show. I hope to keep that going, the momentum going to go with. You don't have to keep the momentum, but in this case, I want to keep the momentum going because I do genuinely feel like, the challenges I have from our commenters, you guys just make me a better person. If you watched our first go of the show to this go of the show, these 20 episodes, I would probably say at least 5 times more intelligent. So I appreciate you for that. You guys challenge me in the dumb things I say, but you challenge me to research and want to come with some good stuff. So thank you for that. I will please, if you have book recommendations, put them in the comments, or you could always send them to me directly. I want to read books. I think Evangelina once mentioned a book club. If you have a book club, let me know. I would love to join and speak about books with people. And I just really appreciate you guys all for watching and taking the time. Like Julian said, to be here every day at 6 to 7:30 at least every week is just crazy to me. I appreciate you. I think one of the best comments we get and the most comments we get is like, even though it comes as a surprise, like you guys are actually really smart. I mean, to me, it is crazy. We joke and we laugh and we have funny conversations, but I just want to continue to be better. And I think genuinely, you have helped me. Herb, you've already referred that to me, and I have it in my bookcase already. But keep them coming. And I guess for other people, that's a cool.
I have like 75 Audible credits, so I'll just listen to it.
So I appreciate you guys and thank you. Keep it up. I'm gonna agree with Julian. Like, keep watching the show because we're going to keep trying to show you that you can be your best self. And if you're not your best self, that's okay too. So I'll give my one book recommendation, The Willpower Instinct by Kelly McGonigal. It's a great book. I already have great willpower, but it shows you why willpower is good and the fact that you actually run out of willpower daily. You don't just have an infinite amount of it. It was pretty interesting. So other than that, I genuinely can say I love you guys. Like, I love the people who comment. I appreciate you all. And we're definitely not going to take a long break because we can't wait to get back. And really the break is so that we could give you a better product. So continue to support us. And we're going to continue to hopefully make you guys all proud. So
yeah. And you can, to answer your question, you can DM either of us.
Yeah, absolutely. You can send it to the page too.
Yeah, or the page. Either way.
Actually, I would say send it to the page because it can't hurt for people to see it either. I think people getting book recommendations is going to be really, really good. But if
you can post on people's timelines too, right?
Yeah, like to their wall.
Yeah,
so
whatever you want. This page needs a little more exposure. In my opinion, I think we deserve more recognition than we've got. Obviously, anyone would say that. So feel free to post on our page and hopefully give the algorithm something to think about. With that said, we'll take our final. It's a little sad, isn't it?
It is. I sent you the watery eye emoji.
I'll be there for you, because you're there for me.
You went Friends? Okay.
Oh, you know what I got? Hold on, let me look it up. Hold one second.
I want to wait for my life
to be over. I want to know right now.
Hey, first of all, it's bad luck to cheers and not take a drink, right?
Point a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. That's Good Riddance by Green Day. I'll give them their credit. We love you. We will be back. I'm ending this podcast live from Rio Linda, the last man alive. May God bless your ever-loving souls.